This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
He is the man that covers the drama.
How you doing, brother?
A lot better than Mario Cristobal, that's for sure. Wow. Although I got to say, watching the press conferences, he handled the media much better this week, even again after a loss compared to last week. Last week it was kind of a mishandling of his situation and the whole media, and you could tell it was, obviously it bothered the shit out of him, but it was almost like he was more used to dealing with it this week or something. I don't know, but he handled it better.
Yeah. I think, when everybody's kind of crapping on you for a bad decision and then you go out and you lose a game because your players turned the ball over too much and they were the ones that kind of made the big mistakes. I guess you're in a better mood, right? Like you're like, okay, these are the guys I got to fix versus, everybody putting the heat on me directly. So, I don't know. I think overall, man, I think what I felt after that game was what I heard in the preseason, which was, and again, nobody on the team said this, is just the people around the team were saying, hey, 8-4 would be a great year for this team, right? In a bounce back year. It's almost as if falling to 4-2, losing to North Carolina sort of, I don't know, made Mario think, yeah, this is still year 2 in this rebuild. This is still part of the problems that we have are still things that I have to address with the roster in his mind. And so I think it put him in a place where almost accepting of, hey, we lost to a team we probably should have lost to.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. It just, man, it's a shame overall, because now, even Clemson, while it's a winnable game talent-wise, it's just, it's hard to just imagine that now at this point in time. And it's just, you look at it and it just becomes, you look at that game and now it becomes like this daunting task to get a victory. And brother, if this becomes a 3-game losing streak and you're like, damn, this is not what you wanted. You wanted to win at least 2 out of these 3 is what you really wanted to do.
Right. Matt Shodell, who's he and I have covered the Hurricanes for a long time. He writes for Kane Sport.
That's an excellent job, Kane Sport.
Yeah, he does a great job. He came up with a stat today, and I didn't realize this till I read his story, but 12 out of the last 17 years, this team has had a 3-game losing skid. 12 out of the last 17 years, they've lost 3 games in a row at one point during a season. So that's pretty remarkable. And I guess when we talk about, what happens to this program, right? Like how one loss always leads to another. They never really recover.
Yeah.
I guess the opportunity this week is to try to reverse that trend, right? To really prove that you're taking a step forward, that you're not going to, make it 13 out of 18 years where that happens. So, look, it's going to be a tough challenge, but I also think this is a very beatable Clemson team in the sense that they are not the juggernaut they used to be. No. And offensively, they've got some issues, but I think a lot of the things that they do well does not sort of line up well with what Miami does. Number one, they're one of the best defensive teams in the country up front in their front 7. They've got 2 legitimate linebackers, and then they've got 2 of the best backs in the country. So they're going to be able to run the football. And we saw what happened last week against Carolina when, which the defensive tackles for Miami, that was a concern for me coming into the year. They played with a little bit of pace, and they were able to run the football against Miami, and I think Clemson's going to try to do the same thing. So,
okay. I mean, I got to tell you, bro, it is just an ugly situation. Now, when we look at Tyler's play, this is who he is? Because the inconsistencies at times are kind of frustrating. So what do you attribute the inconsistencies to? Is it him not knowing the offense yet? Is it players not running the right routes? Is it it's not the offensive line, because I actually think the offensive line did a pretty good job overall.
Right.
So what is it about his inconsistencies at times?
Well, what's interesting about this offense, and Shannon Dawson is, if you look at the numbers across the board, he's improved them across the board. Okay,
Yeah.
completion percentage is up 70% from 61% a year ago. I mean, all of the numbers have improved, so it's hard to knock him. But I guess the one thing I would criticize him a little bit on is it feels like this offense is entirely designed for Tyler simply to throw the football to the wide receivers and to specifically Xavier Restrepo. And you know this, when you become sort of one dimensional where the same three guys are getting the ball the whole game, it makes it a little easier for the defense to game plan for you. And the tight ends this season, I mean, this is incredible, but the tight ends this season for the University of Miami have 5 catches, brother.
What tight ends?
Exactly. They've got 5 catches. This is supposed to be tight end you. You think about Will Mallory, right? And getting drafted by the Colts. He's playing for the Colts now. Like he 5 catches was like an average game for him last year. Right. And so that part of the field isn't being utilized. The running backs out of the backfield are not being utilized in the passing game. And so it feels like
why?
I don't know. I it's because the reads, maybe the play selection. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
They can't catch.
I don't think that's the case at all. I just think the way this offense is designed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tyler's got 1 or 2 reads, get rid of the ball quickly, give it to your receiver in space. I don't think they're utilizing everything they should be utilizing. And maybe Elijah Arroyo coming back this week will change that for the tight end position, because he's played 6 snaps. He played 6 snaps against North Carolina. They've been bringing him back slowly from this knee injury. Maybe that changes this week against Clemson, but again, it's really hard to knock the offense, dude. Like, because their numbers have improved across the board. They've just turned the ball over, and I think it's just been Tyler making a few mistakes here and there, forcing the ball. That's what it is.
I'm not picking necessarily on Shannon. I'm picking on Tyler's inconsistencies at times, because there are moments where he gets on a roll and he's, putting together some nice passes. The one to George this past week, but then he gets some other, some throws that are like, yo, dude, what are you thinking? And then some of the interceptions and stuff like that. And I can't blame Coach Dawson for that. I blame TVD for that. And so that's why I ask, what do you attribute his inconsistencies to?
Yeah, I think part of it is he's looking in the same 3 places, as I said. And I think defenses are, they're picking up on his tendencies. It's easier to pick him off when you know where he's going with the ball every single time. I just think that is a big part of why he's having some of these struggles right now. I think if he was spreading the ball around a little bit more, defenses wouldn't be able to key on the same 3 guys, and maybe you throw fewer interceptions that way. That's all.
Administration, have you talked to anybody above? What are their thoughts about how the ship is sailing?
Well, I mean, listen, I talked to somebody after the game who'd made the road trip up there. And while there's certainly disappointment over the Georgia Tech loss and the way that ended, I think there's a lot of thinking of, hey, Mario's still building this thing from a roster perspective, that we still need more weapons, and losing to North Carolina, a team that is in year 5 under Mac Brown and has an elite quarterback. It's probably nothing to be ashamed of. You got beat by a good team that's legitimate, top 15 team in the country this year. So, are they happy necessarily? No, nobody wants to be 9-9 through their first 18 games. No coach does. But some of that is just last year's debacle. And I think Mario ultimately he's hired the right coaches. He's got the right people around the program. They just got to learn how to win. They got to learn how to win these games and not give them away. And once you get past that, should be 5-1 in my mind. Should be 5-1 this year. I think a lot of people at Miami feel that way. But the second half will tell the story. And I think as long as this team doesn't fall apart and continues to play hard for Mario, I think they should win 8 or 9 games. If it goes the other way, that's the bad sign.
Where are they at injury-wise for this week?
Well, Tyler, Susan Miller-Degnan, my colleague from the Herald, was at Miami yesterday for the press conference and saw Tyler, I guess, leaving the field with his leg wrapped. And so obviously that's not a good thing, right? But Mario,
The OC says he's all good, ready to go.
Yeah. Listen, these quarterbacks. Oh, you've been around the NFL a long time. I mean, how often did you see Marino completely wrapped in ice and just from his body getting this shit smacked out of him? You know, like that. It takes 24, 48, 72 hours to recover from what people have described to playing an NFL game as running into your garage door 20 times in different positions. That's the kind of pain you're going to feel.
Leave the coaches here on this because you will look like complete idiots by telling everybody, no, man. Like when the question was followed up in the press conference, Mario was like, hey, we told you he's fine, he's good to go. Next question. So it was like an after the fact type of thing. Like, hey guys, relax, you're overreacting. It's like, yo, guys, that's treatment. That's all that is. It's not an injury. It's football. That's treatment. That's
he
kind
was.
of the way it sound that like he's not in any doubt for this week.
He was limping a little bit as he took the field, though, and I think part of that is just again he took a lot of big hits in that game. So, and including one towards the sideline when he was running out, he kind of limped a little bit after that. So, but. Hopefully he's able to go like the coaches say. I think he will be. You know, I mentioned Arroyo coming back. The guy I think Miami misses on defense quite a bit is Akeem Mesidor, and he's been out since the Texas A&M game. He's the one, guy who was banged up in that game that hasn't come back. He was in street clothes on the sideline. I didn't see him limping too much, but I think you wouldn't be traveling with the team if you were out for the season. So I think there's probably some hope for him to come back at some point. They're going to need him because he was, you put him together with Ruben Bain and now you got something, in terms of a pass rush and it just helps your overall depth on the defensive line. You're playing a legit guy versus having to, put in some guys that maybe shouldn't be in there. So I think that's a big one for Miami moving forward.
Apparently I know, forget Mesidor. I know what you're missing, bro. Okay, because True Fin fans asking me to ask you about the guy you're really missing.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of Popo Aguirre.
Yes.
He played Little League Baseball with his father, Raul Aguirre.
Yes.
Ask and nobody knows, but if Popo Aguirre is activated this week, Clemson's losing by like 100 points. I mean, so
correct. We got to get Popo in the game.
Who is Popo Aguirre, please?
Popo Aguirre is first of all, his dad and I played Little League ball together back in Miami Park many years ago.
You also played Little League ball? Okay. So
yes, I played some football and baseball growing up at West Kendall and at Miami Park. One of my teammates at West Kendall, by the way, was DJ Zog from Power 96. That was one of my guys from back in the day. I played with Manny Crespo. I played with a few people that ended up making it places. So, but Popo Aguirre, his son, Popo, as his nickname is a freshman linebacker, and it was a 4-star recruit out of the state of Georgia, one of the best players in Georgia. And Miami's played a lot of linebackers this season. They've rotated a lot of guys. He's played a little bit, but he's certainly a big part of the future. And I think again, Mario had a monster recruiting class. I just think it's one of those deals where they've got older guys in there that are doing a decent job. CC, Kiko Mauigoa, Kiko Mauigoa, not CC. CC's the offensive lineman.
Kiko. All right.
Yeah, we got Popo, Kiko, we got Wesley Saints, we got all these guys in there, and but yeah, if he gets in the game, maybe it's a difference. Who knows?
Every team needs a Popo and a Kiko on it. Every team. I mean, if your team doesn't have a Popo and a Kiko on it,
and a CC on the offensive line, both of them.
If you have a CC, then you should be winning lots of titles. You have that. That's damn sure. All right.
Yep.
What you got going on in the Athletics so folks can check it out?
Yeah, I'm going to come out with my midseason report tomorrow for Miami, the team breakdown, filling out a couple categories there now. A freshman All-American midseason team. That'll be coming out tomorrow. I'm working with Max Olson on that. We'll have a new podcast. We do have a new podcast out right now, the Wide Right Podcast, an episode that I recorded yesterday. What else do I have? I'm thinking of everything, and I'm racking my brain. Until Saturday, I'm going to do a Stars Matter podcast tomorrow, another recruiting podcast. That'll be out. And I have a story on the class of 2018, all the quarterbacks from 2018. There's been some good ones that are already in the NFL. There's like 9 or 10 of them that are in the NFL, but there's still, obviously, because of the extra COVID year, I think more than 40 guys of those quarterbacks, they're in their 6th year, they're still playing college football. So I have a whole story on that. So there's plenty to read. All of our national people have been doing great work, and Grace Rain and I will do our power rankings on Friday. There's ton of stuff to read in the Athletic.
All right, I'm just waiting for that Popo Agir.
Yeah, he's ready to go, man. His pops
feature piece on Popo Agir.
Yes, we got to do one. And I'll tell you, his dad was a heck of a ball player.
Oh, really?
So
there you go.
Yeah.
So the apple didn't fall too far from the tree.
Did not fall far from it. No.
Good stuff. All right, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at the Athletic. Manny, as always, appreciate you, my brother. We will catch up later on in the week.
Anytime, brother. Take care. I'll see you.
Thank you, sir. There you go, the great Manny Navarro. Use our code BIG010 at Caneswear, whether you're online at caneswear.com. Remember, when you order over $99, you'll get free shipping, and use our code BIG010, you will get 10% off. So free shipping and 10% off BIG010. If you go personally to the store, use our code BIG010. They're at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, right next to Las Spadas. God, I love those subs. Caneswear.com.